So hey, you guys, y'all see this couch? Y'all see this couch? I'm sure you recognize it. This couch used to belong. I've heard stories. Actually, I've heard them tell stories about it. This couch used to belong to Kelly and David Landry, and then it was passed on to Cat Jones, who used to live maybe a 4-minute walk from where we are right now in East Nashville. And so I looked at it. I was like, it seems really small. And she was like, but it's perfect. Well, and rest her soul, it's perfect size for Daisy, which is her dog, who just recently went to Great Doggy, the great backyard.
Valhalla. The Valhalla of
yes.
Yes.
Valhalla.
Sitting
I just see her
she's just sitting on the table.
Bandana on, hey.
Yeah. Bandana that looks like armor for some reason. A flowing metal bandana.
somehow she has a long blonde wig on now.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the music that I hear as she's on this battlefield. But so now it belongs to me. I for a good long time.
That couch has the most give I have ever it's comfy, but it's just it's almost like a Jello mold. Yeah. It just you sit. Do you guys remember those squishy bags from the 90s where there's just a bag of basically goo? They were like stress balls, but even squishier. It's like that with the couch.
I think I've slept on it a couple times, but honestly, I'm a short dude.
Fair.
This couch is even short for me.
Yeah.
It's like.
Oh, I didn't say I slept on it comfortably.
No,
I've definitely slept on it.
That's fair. I think because I'm trying to think of the trajectory of this. When you all were here, did I have the futon?
When we were there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I let the futon sit unput together for a year. And then I said, oh man, so people are staying in my house. By the way, all y'all should come and roll through, because now that I don't live by myself, things are a whole lot more presentable. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was an interesting situation, but I'm still grateful for being able to stay there.
Well,
the air conditioning didn't work just because you didn't turn it on. I had to get the fan, I had a friend move the fan for me because I thought it was broke.
It was because just recently I asked them to fix my air conditioning and they did. Again, because I said I don't live by myself anymore.
Yeah.
And me, myself, I've been described as a lizard. People understand this about me. I love heat. I love heat. I love it. This stuff that we're doing right now, this is my joint. I love it. But everyone doesn't feel that way. And I understand.
I do not feel that way in any way, shape, or form, my friend. I'm you can throw me into 30 degrees and I'm still yeah, it's a little toasty right now.
That's super kryptonite for me. That is straight up my powers are only gonna operate at 30% efficiency. The farther down we go on the Fahrenheit scale. I'm just saying.
Hey everybody. Welcome to the Mixer, I guess, Quarantine Live. With us right at the moment, we have Josh Dent. You have to say something, Josh. People listening to this too. It's visual and audio.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to give a video description. Josh dancing.
Okay. And we have our guest with us also, Jon Royal. Jon Royal, would you like to say hello? And I don't know, would you like to tell anything about yourself, or you don't care? It's fine.
Well, I care, but it's
you can promote yourself if you want, or yeah.
It's I'm Jon, and I'm trying to survive as an artist, and that's never really changed. Post-pandemic, pre-pandemic, it's tough every time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's what I have a conversation with about people all the time, which is the vigilance standards, right? Which is like, I'm poor, so there's always a certain vigilance about like how to make money, when to make money, how to not spend money, right? To like just focus on all that all the time, right? Then there's brown vigilance, right? Which is also a different conversation of how you have conversations with people, even like on a normal, nice business, regular situation of how you have to tone and place yourself. And then now there's like, oh, I can't touch anything or breathe anybody or be close to these people, even more so than it was before. And so now there's the plus death vigilance. And now there's Black Lives Matter, which is making white people even angrier.
Yes.
So the vigilance level I'm at is taking my anxiety fucking just through the roof.
Wow. Wow. No, oh, oh, I can't even. I can't even right now. And I'd say this. I love what I do a lot. Like I love it. And there's no but coming. I mean, I really love it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
Yeah.
people that I'm able to work with, the people that I work with and have been working with for a long time, I had a work meeting today I am writing a project for one of my jobs. I'm a teaching artist at TPAC Education. And it's weird. It's just weird. It's weird because an educational guidebook for production of Raising the Sun that's from another city that is going to tour, that's touring, right? Well, that is going to tour, and
Right.
especially they're planning to be here in March. But like, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But I'm going through the motions of like working. Like so, like my brain is having trouble like putting
Right.
all the sense together. Like
Right.
common sense is telling me, hey, so y'all know that like this is all screwed up, and we ain't gonna really. This ain't gonna nah. You know what I'm saying? But people are like not giving orders, and she's not doing that. But
Right.
like people are giving orders like, well, we're gonna go business as usual, and then
Right.
business changes, and they're like, well, the new business as usual. Oh,
Right.
well, the new business as usual. Oh, no,
I just
new.
I just don't okay, like this shit like pisses me off like to no end. Like I get it. A lot of people coping with the shit that's happening, like specifically the COVID thing. Like I
Mhm.
get it. People are trying to get like those dates as soon as in their brain is that it's humanly possible for them. They're just like, yeah, that's so we'll do it by then. And I'm like, dog, I feel you that it sucks, but maybe plan for like super long term,
Right.
like maybe actually plan for like, okay, maybe let's get the curriculum for this shit done. Let's get what we can get done without interacting with each other as much as possible. And then if we get to the point where we're ready to see people, kind of got to call it until it's time. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, so we were, the Grand Magnolia thing that a bunch of everybody was working on.
For
yeah,
Oz, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for Oz. I mean, it was going to be, haunted, much bigger. Look up Haunted Nashville audience if you want to know what we were talking about originally. It was going to be much bigger, much crazier, more fun. I had some more fingers in the pie, so I was super happy of writing more stuff, and I was going to intertie all this crazy stuff. But the show was also a warehouse-sized place with people walking through as an interactive physical art style. That
so yeah, let's do it now.
so exactly. It's like, well, and the question is like, other theater we can talk about, sure, like here's a stage and maybe we'll figure out some other distance things from the audience at some point, and then like we can take special precautions for the actors and all those things. But like the interactive art form, that ain't happening until
Ah,
I don't know when the fuck.
immersive theater is as we know it is
Yeah.
down.
Well,
Like
yeah. And I mean, also, when again are you going to be comfortable to be in that environment, though? Because I don't know when I'm going to be.
I have no
Uh,
idea.
when we have a actually functioning vaccine that actually works on a societal level, that's when I'll be
Right,
comfortable.
right. And that's going to take like a good 3 years of running through the population also to figure out. So that's a little terrifying. Like the actually works part is, you know,
Mhm.
Yep. No, I
there's a
get you.
lot of people types to test.
No, I feel
Mhm.
you. I absolutely feel you on that. Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I feel like we had a work meeting. She was gonna and like I feel like she's been freaking out about deadlines, and I'm still saying to myself, "Hey, we don't even know if it's gonna happen."
Yeah.
But she's not like frantic, but she's like, and it's not directed at me, which I really appreciate. Because let me tell you, she's like, I mean, because I'm over here, I'm like, yo, like, I've got enough. Like, this is what I found most interesting work-wise about COVID, is about the fact that at first everybody was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they were reluctant to do that. I want everybody to remember that. They were reluctant to do that, but people were like, no, really. Because we probably should have been doing that February-ish, but you know, whatever.
I listened to too much NPR. I was there. Like,
yes.
As soon as Italy started getting touched in like January, maybe early February, like I came home, and Ash will be here later and Sierra will be here later. I don't remember if I said that, but to join us. But I literally was like, it's here. It's fucked up. We need to get stuff. I mean, toilet paper wasn't a thing, and I wasn't stocking up on shit because that's mean and crazy. It's a bad thing to do to people. But like, you know, the rest of it, I was just like, we need masks, we need cleaning shit, we need to be prepped because it's happening, and I'm probably getting it because I'm a courier and I'm out there every day. Like, I am a courier that works jobs that are essential. So like, I'm seeing 80 people a day, and honestly, until maybe last week, 80 of the people I saw, I'm not saying the people who worked in the businesses, they did good, but everybody who was in their businesses not wearing masks, like not even nothing. And now it's maybe a third of a percent. But anyways, back to that of the working arts.
No, but that's crazy though. Like, how are you? I mean, and I felt the same way. I was in a business. My girlfriend and I went to Chattanooga recently on a trip. The day we were coming home, we got rear-ended. So, and it was cars still drivable, but that's still you know, that's that sucks on your way home. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I went to take my car in, I guess maybe last Thursday, I went to take my car into the shop.
Yeah.
And it's a car that I had recently bought off of my mother.
Mm-hmm.
So it had been through a wreck before. I said, well, who do you use? And she told me who she uses.
Yeah.
And she told me who she had used. She said they did a great job. I said, great. It's a body shop that is attached to a dealership. This is all important. Actually, I bet you this would be true if it was any dealership or any car repair place, because we walk in, but it's a dealership, right? So there's people, like, they have money to have people at desks and stuff. Like, everybody there is not like covered in car dust and grease and working on the car. Because I've definitely been in those shops too. No shade. I'm like, yo, whoever can fix my shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I can. But so I went in, and I was nervous about going in because it's inside, right? Like, it's inside. Like, it's not like a high vaulted ceiling. It's none of that. It's like inside.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was like, dang, why can't they just handle me outside?
I
walked in, and I had my mask on, and the woman behind the desk who was waiting, she had her mask on. Nobody else in that office, because they're sitting at their desks in their office.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no.
And I'm like, this is not the world we live in anymore, y'all. Like, this
no. Well, so like I said, I'm out there fairly often, but the elevator problem, like, so literally I'm picking up from a medical place to do some courier work, and like, the elevator opens, and I was standing there, and this white lady comes up from behind me, and the elevator opens, I walk into it, and then she comes walking in, and I just walk right back out, and she's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, no, you can go. I can wait for not dying. That's my preference. Like, neither of us dying, that's what I'm fine waiting another 5 minutes for. It's okay. It's not a problem. Don't give me a weird look. People do that like several times in an elevator though. Like, I will walk right out. It's Nothing
That's
me.
cool.
I'm
If you ain't wearing your shit, then I ain't gonna do that.
I will sound nice and social under the mask as I possibly can, but like.
Well, my thing is, why would they? I mean, why would they want to share an elevator? Like, why would you want to share an elevator right now? Like, I cannot imagine that.
No.
For a long time, I'm not on. For a long time, I wasn't. I didn't have a car for over a year,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a year and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I drive past places where I was waiting for the bus and where I rode the bus and like stops that yep, I know that one. All right. I know this stop or whatever. And I
Yeah.
see cats on the bus and I'm like, wow, I just feel really grateful that I have a ride
Yeah.
now because I mean I am all about public transit. Let's feed into this. I was mad. I wrote in protest when they canceled the bus line
Yeah.
down the street from my house. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm just very happy to have a car. I think car culture is horrible, but I'm
Yeah.
super happy to have a car.
Well, this city's super weird with that, though. I mean, the way it is spread out, it's really not like it's not a walking city. It's not a biking city. Like, sure, if you live a block or maybe 6 blocks from where you got to go, but like, one, there's stupid hills in the city, and two, like, there's just like always a nice 10 miles most often if you don't live downtown between the shit you want to get to and the other shit. Like, that's also how it built. Also, speaking of bus culture, my mom is a bus driver, so she's out bus driving and all what's going on right now. And she wears a mask and she wears gloves and she wears all that stuff because it's officiated. But she is also a often poster of why masks can cause breathing problems for people who wear them for over 2 hours. She also posts for like how Dr. Fauci once said that, masks were bad, so his opinions don't make any sense. Where he mostly was just like, I don't know if how helpful they are. And that was like at the beginning of this in January. But yeah, so it's a weird conundrum though, which is like you're in the face of this, and my mom is super. I'm about to be 40, so she ain't super young. I like that. That's the only thing I'm fine hiding about my mom is her age. Most of it, the rest of it.
I'll tell her business. I'll tell her stance on masks, but her age will serve.
No, we don't touch that.
I gotta stand it. I gotta stand it. If I didn't know the year she was born, I don't think I would know her age. Like, yeah.
I'm sorry. I just think that's weird. I feel like this is I'm just going at random with different things, but I was trying to tell somebody that not too long ago. I was good and grown before I actually knew how old my mother actually was.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't even have a clue or a concept. I just knew my mama, and this is the person who yells at me when I don't do my homework. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Or all those other things. This is the person who loves me and makes breakfast every day and will make sure I have lunch money, but don't let me come in later than X time and I'm gonna hear about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I was like, that's so. For when I didn't know how old she was until she answered somebody else's question about how old she was when she had me,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh, what's so that's and so
yep. Yeah.
What's been fun now? I turned 44 in March.
Yeah.
What's been fun to do is to go back and look at when I was different ages and to track how old my mother was then.
Yeah.
And to say, oh dang, how in the hell did she survive that?
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Or how in the world was she when I did X? What was she thinking? Because man, I wouldn't have been able to handle that when I was 30. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking those things.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think about that a lot because both my mom was 18 and my dad was 17 when I was born. Still not giving actual numbers.
Yep.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yep.
But so my parents were fucking kids when they had me.
Yeah.
So like I think about that a lot because even my sister also had a kid when she was 17. So like I think about all this. And I was like, yo, I ain't ready to have kids now at my age in my 30s.
Yeah.
Like I ain't
Nice
about
move
that.
there.
Still not giving anything specific.
That
Yeah.
variable. His equation. People, the audience at home is trying to work out Josh's variable, and they're like, "No, I can't solve. I can't solve for X."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, I mean,
I'm giving you like a decade to work with, so like good luck.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, like, my mom had my brother at a seriously young age. And so like her interaction with me apparently is just like this my mom was abusive to me, like emotionally and physically. Just like not to the crazy level. Like I was 60s fine abused. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was the 60s, the amount of abuse I got would be perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? But like
I feel you.
It was the 80s through the early 90s, and that's not how you physically abuse people in that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what my brother did,
physically abuse scale.
right? But there's a 10-year difference between me and my brother, and the way and I'm just fine saying all this out here because the way he was abused was significantly worse than I was.
Wow.
And so like that's the thing is she came and healed and became better at that as a person, but never like it never went to the like, no, I shouldn't do this as a person. But I mean, she started super young, and it's definitely a different age. And I'm not saying that there's mass justifications for anything that happened, but it is just the weirdness of just like, and there was abuse in her life, but it's just Sorry for going down that tangent, but it's it is the weirdness of having kids at super young ages and like having those different experiences. Yeah.
I just the age, and my mother was older than the numbers that you all have thrown out.
Yeah.
And she had me, but she was still young, and I cannot even like the stuff that I was pulling.
Yeah.
At that age.
Yeah.
And even a good 7 years past that age.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, how did she? And my mother's always been this super conscientious, like, I'm like, wow. Like, I mean, seriously, like I would love to say that I've been that, but I actually no, I've had a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, this ride. So yeah. Just saying. I'm not a no regrets person.
Yeah.
Because I think if you say you don't have any regrets, then you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Or you just have no memory of the past. You know what I'm saying?
Well, right. So here, okay. So I do actually like I have a lot of memory problems. I don't know what they're caused from, but like I can remember things and narratives in people's lives and what happens to them. But like, if you're asking me about a specific event, you'd have to tell it to me half the time. Especially if it's like, this is a thing we do regularly. If we do it regularly, I have absolutely no memory. So people, though, telling me of memories that they have of me make me have regrets.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what I work at constantly is for people to have less of those stories. Like that's my, you know what I'm saying? That's my work. Like,
yeah. No, one of my big shits with that is like, I don't not have regrets, but I've done my best to, for as long as I've been like a conscious adult, to minimize those.
Mm-hmm. I feel you.
And also picking my battles, because like there's some things where I'm like, this is dumb, but also I'm going to do it right now because this is best for me in the moment. Which is a very strange decision to have to make, but here we are.
No, I've been there. No, I feel similarly. I'm just like my whole deal. I forget when I decided this for myself, but I had to state it, right? Like
Yeah,
you feel like this is it should be implied, but
yeah,
no.
yeah,
Um, I said no, just new mistakes, y'all. New mistakes.
yeah,
I don't want to do the old mistakes. I want to
yeah,
do new mistakes. New mistakes,
Mm,
cool. That was a
yeah,
mistake, man. But I
yeah,
had never done it before. But
yeah,
old mistakes,
yeah.
especially over and over and over and over again, old mistakes. I was like,
mm.
dude, come on, man. You gotta. This is
That's such a hard door to break though, because you once you kind of make that move to say that, like, of that thing, it you just end up finding the more repeated mistakes you have though. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're like, I'm gonna get rid of these repeated mistakes I have. All right, so that's cool. I'm now where oh shit, I also have these repeated mistakes now. I got and then it's like, oh shit, there's so many layers of repeated mistakes.
sometimes it's
So
fun
wait,
though, because you're on the hunt for new shit to fuck up. Because
Yeah.
you're like, oh
so
man,
are we like talking about our artistic lives or our lives now? Because I'm not seeing a
Both.
difference.
both,
Both.
both,
Both.
both.
Both. Uh, what was that, John?
I was like the crazy thing. I'm glad you said that because the crazy thing is, I feel like it's not about taking chances, but I feel like uh, I'm less likely to make a mistake. And I don't know where this puts what this says, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm less likely to. I'm thinking particularly about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm less likely to make a mistake artistically, relationship wise,
Mm-hmm.
than I am trusting somebody in the real world. Like
Mm,
friends talk to me about that. They're like, yeah, you want to forgive folks. You are quick to forgive. You want to
Yeah.
forgive folks. That
Yeah.
has changed a lot in the last 5 years or so. I'm very thankful about that because I've been able to end some relationships that I'm like, yo, this this happy BS that you are feeding yourself that I sit and listen to, you are not acting on it, and I am helping you not act on it. And it's not my problem. It's just
mm.
cannot be
So,
my problem that you are not
so
doing X. I gotta walk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
were you saying artistically you have that problem, or
I have
creatively you have that?
I have that problem more in my life than artistically. I'm able to make more relationship boundaries as of the last, I want to say 5 years, 6 years,
Mm.
5 years, and that's
Right.
good because it's meant that I'm able to walk away from shit that's had me just spinning. You
Yeah.
know what
Mm.
I'm saying?
So I
Uh,
think go, Josh.
no, what I just want to like add to that. So this is something that I think about a lot, and what I will say to that is, I think of the words love and respect
Yep.
as actions
Yep.
and not adjectives for
Yep.
things.
Yep.
And I think when I reframed those two things, it helped me
Mm-hmm.
get to like that same place
Yep.
where you can say you love me all you want, but what are you doing to show that love? And a lot of times showing love, showing respect means having to fix your own shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it means having to kind of like re-up on that shit on a regular basis.
Yep.
Like there's like and we like nobody owes you shit in that regard.
Yep. Yep.
So like and like
Yep.
we don't owe people shit in that regard. And
Yep.
that goes to like all relationships, period.
Yep. Yep.
Like if it's not a two-way street, it like if you ain't respecting me, I don't owe you shit. I don't need to respect you.
Right.
Like those two things like can be perfectly separate. Like I don't owe you like I'm supposed to treat you a certain way because of whoever you are. If you aren't treating me like a dignified person,
Yeah.
and like
So
Yeah.
so for me, and like there was years previous that in times of studying to be a pastor in my more evangelical non-denominational life, uh, that I was so influenced by the concept of God's will and what God's will was for you that I got stuck in unhealthy emotional personal relationships and unhealthy artistic relationships and like unhealthy church relationships, just mostly because people could plead things like God's will. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always been skeptical as fuck, but like to have a certain amount of interaction in the church, you have to suspend a certain amount of disbelief.
Sure. Well, that's the name of it. That's the name
Right.
of it. Yeah.
Right. But yet again, faith to me is not the same thing though. Like, you know
You're
what I'm
right.
saying?
You're right.
Faith is not suspension of disbelief, you know? Like I don't have to go to interact with somebody of a reasonable faith that I need to believe that anybody in this group has superpowers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's that. So it took me a lot of years to then go to the understanding, I guess, from what the concept of covenant is and studying like a lot of the Hebraic versions of that and the old concepts to go like, oh, wait, this is all just a fucking contract between people. And every moment of our interaction is just a contract. Like, we're going to have a contract to be civil here. This is what I say is I'm a pacifist entirely with human conversations because each conversation we have has a certain level and feel, but once you change the conversation to violence, I will respond like in the conversation adequately. As soon as you swing at me, we are having a different conversation. So like to me, I've made those standards in like art and personal life now that's honestly just like, if you're gonna be destructive, fuck off. Like I have zero, like my faith, my idea of society, my ethics, my thoughts on who we should be as people all say, if you're a monster, go away. Like, I'm done with it. I'm just done. I'm done. Like,
I have found more. I hear you. I hear you. I have found it more difficult. Yes. I feel like I have found it difficult to walk away from situations that are monstrous, yet no one's behaving in a, you know what I'm saying? No one's behaving in a monstrous way.
they're not storybooking it. They're not Doctor Dooming it, which we'll talk about comics later. But they're not like I'm in a metal suit, like shooting.
Not in a metal suit, destroying anybody with
shit. Like, you know, this makes
spells. Go ahead.
No, this makes me think of like that thing that's the thing. I think most of the like just immoral shit, like real immoral, not like bullshit ideology, like staying up in people's businesses and like staying up in people's businesses and whatnot. Like fuck that. But like I really sorry, I'm a little bit distracted by the air conditioner.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ash. The air conditioner is super loud out there. It's causing like a big loud static problem. Maybe you should move to a different room. We can't hear you because I'm going to mute you because it makes a loud ass sound. And some people will be listening to this as a podcast. So I love this. As the first as the first black woman comes into the camera, we mute her and tell her to change.
Oh, that is not a good look. It's for a really good reason, but that is not a good look. Okay. On that note, should I wait for Ash to come in?
She's nodding no while she's eating an ice cream cone.
Okay.
Yeah,
so what I will say, like to John's point, so that like, you know, being in monstrous situations without people acting monstrous. Niceness is a weapon. Niceness is violence in so many settings. Like, people like to equate niceness to being good, and it is so often used to placate people who are unbelievably marginalized and like in so many different settings, and is used as like an anti-dissent method, and it's fucked up. And like that's kind of like we're going in like this conversation we're having, you know, about about like how do I deal with these like toxic ass things in my life. It's like the toxic things in your life might not actually look that toxic on the surface, like because there are some really nice people who are fucking terrible.
I agree. No, thank you for that. I totally agree. And it took a minute. Yeah, I'm thinking of one situation in particular where I was like, this is hell, and it's not changing. Like, no matter what I do, this is gonna keep being another different version of hell, I love the people that I love who are still here, but as for me, I can't do this with myself anymore because there surely is something better than this. You know what I'm saying?
Can you tell us about the experience without mentioning anything specific? Because obviously this was going to the public. So
sure. Yeah, sure. I can. I mean, I feel like on the level where so I'm freelance. Everything I do is freelance. And that doesn't necessarily mean 1099 or whatever. But and that's the other thing about it. Administratively, Josh, I think you're absolutely right because people will be like, well, wait a minute. We pay you as an employee. That doesn't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? If I'm still like that doesn't mean anything. These things don't mean anything really. If I'm still scraping it and working, you know what I'm saying? And that's really all I wanted out of the relationship. But there was a time in the relationship where I was able to give the same amount. I was able to give the same amount or more if I chose, and less was expected. But suddenly, just over time, more was expected, yet more was not exchanged.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about money. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about consideration. I'm talking about respect. I'm talking about all these in quote unquote intangible things. And I'm like, but wait, you can't schedule that way if you want us to. But wait, don't you care about what we have to do about? But wait, you can't. And the deal was my immediate supervisors would change, but the conditions would not really improve. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is the people who need to know the most, they're never gonna change.
Right.
In the way that I need them to.
Right.
They're never gonna change. So I'm like, well, this is a me problem.
Right.
I need to be out of here.
Right. You don't have to name any names, and I know you're not talking about this company, but I had that experience at Crew One, so fuck Crew One, and I just want to say that clearly on the radio. I have no problem with anybody hearing me or saying that they're an abusive company, and it's really horrible to everybody who works there.
I've never worked there. I've never worked there.
Yeah.
I had another situation. It was kind of weird. Like we're living in this age where, you know, I don't know, maybe for me, I can only speak for myself.
Right.
So much of your life, no matter what you do, is spilled out online. And after a while, I don't know where it was for y'all, but after a while, you're like, well, fuck it. I'm just, okay, fine, I'll post this. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily on social media, but like stuff like LinkedIn and like your resume around for people just to pick it off.
Yo, I haven't updated my LinkedIn since 2010.
So this is the first time I've ever filled actually out my LinkedIn. Ash, your audio is still horrible. Every time we hear
it is better.
Well, when we unmute, we just hear an air conditioning. I'm sorry, but literally when we unmute, we just hear air conditioning.
All right. So just burn the air conditioner down, and then we're good.
Yeah.
We've already
wait, no, this is public. Don't burn your apartment complexes with air
conditioner. No, that is unsafe, and we don't advocate.
My legal disclaimer.
Yes.
No one here at the Mixer advocates for the burning down of air conditioners and whatnot.
I dig that. No, I feel you. It's not my decision.
She just sent a message to us, and we're trying to figure out how to best auditorially getting her. I would rather hear you than see you, actually. So, I mean,
I knew that.
That came out wrong.
It's not.
I mean,
wait, isn't that the opposite of the bad thing, though? Right?
No, that's not. No.
No. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's saying the other thing. Fair.
I think context is really important. So definitely, as a listener, don't clip that. We are dealing with some audio visual wait. Oh, I'm not supposed to talk to the audience.
Yeah, fuck the audience.
So
fuck the audience.
Jon Royal. So I'm talking to John.
Yes.
We're dealing with some audio visual issues that you clearly don't know about because you're not in the same chat as all.
Nope.
So now I've conveyed that information. So maybe somebody, if they're maybe listening, could pick up on that.
Ash is going to fix it. We're going to go back and talk about things. I'm glad we're entertaining you, audience. I'm glad you're here to check us out. Remember, Crew One's horrible. And support local businesses and wear masks. We're going to go back to our regularly scheduled conversation on The Mixer. Legal to brew since 19-something. 67. Yes, there we go.
Oh my god! So but no, what I was saying is about LinkedIn. So I have, there again, freelance. So the way that the world works, from what I've seen, if you are a freelancer, my tendency is to list a bunch of jobs to let people know, hey, no, really, I work. I earn money.
Yeah.
I support. I am a part of this capitalist
machine.
Yeah. You can trust me. You can give me the smallest amount of your money that you would like because you really don't give a fuck about you know what I'm saying? But my thing is, so I have a work anniversary that goes way back, way back with a company, and I'm not saying fuck this company or anything. Yeah. I'm saying that
I
feel well, you might, but I feel like this company I'm having the opposite. I feel like it's not only it wasn't outwardly hellish, but it's a lot of it's like drowning in a sea of good intentions.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
and
hello, the nonprofit world.
And I was like, everybody means so well, but when it comes time to do the practice, when it comes time to do the actual work, what's up?
Yeah,
you're not gonna because my deal is, and I've been, I don't know, like anybody knows me knows that my deal is, I've been saying this, it's all about leveraging your power. If you have, if any of your identities have power, it's up to you to leverage your power in the hopes that you can freaking help somebody else or uplift everybody. So we're all like, if it's all various things of this, then what do I need to give in one moment to get here? What do I need you to give me so I can get there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I didn't see that happening. And I saw lots of opportunity. And I'm like, yo, like, if I was working with somebody in particular who I care about, but I'm like, listen, everything, either you want to be the boss or you don't want to be the boss. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily believe in that leadership structure, and I see that you don't, but you can't perform that. And then when it's time, you just decide, well, I'm going to be the boss because it's time. Right. Well, I'm like, okay, because there's a point where I might need you to leverage your power for me and be the boss. And you're like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, no, like, this was the moment. And I can't take any more of these moments. It's been too long. And it's not a agree to disagree thing. It's about, you're cool over here. I'm going to be cool over here, like maybe way, way over here.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Just to be that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, spaces like that are not like, I'm kind of fucking done with it. Like, if I'm like interacting like with like a different like nonprofit or something, like there are just a certain set of questions that I'll ask just to make sure, like, just to be like, so, okay, so this situation happens. What the fuck are you doing? Because I'm tired of dealing with that nonsense. Like, I'm really, really, really fortunate in that the 3 nonprofits that I'm involved in now.
Swear to God, you tell me to move again.
No, you're good, I think.
No, yeah, it's good.
I'm literally sitting between 2 cars in the parking lot.
Ash, I love you so much.
Just saying.
It was really, the audio was really bad. I literally couldn't think.
No, it's fine. But my other option is literally a dark hole of a room, and I have no lights in there. So you would have seen body noise.
I think
so
Troll Ashley's fine.
So what?
Troll Ashley is fine.
Yeah. But this also
dark
works.
cave.
Now I can see your face.
It takes a little bit of the weight out of everything I say. I have to deliver it like this.
I mean, okay, well, when you say it like that, like, I kind of need it now. No,
Now, yeah, I
kidding.
was thinking, well, that would make it interesting for like a portion. I'm just saying.
I'll do one whole episode. I'll do one whole episode like that.
I think give dramatic differences to the angles and the, keep the audience just on their toes. Like,
obviously,
what adventure are they going to shoot from this time?
Obviously. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's sound good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was saying, so the 3 nonprofits that I work for, something that has been really, really amazing to me is all of them, like, Abrasive is like it's kind of a duh, because I mean this is the Mixer. We came from Abrasive Media. Hello. But like
abrasivemedia.org.
Yeah, abrasivemedia.org for everyone that I'm talking to now, and definitely nobody who's listening. So Chatterbird, the musical director for that, holy shit, she's fucking amazing. She is like the shining beacon of what I wish white women were. Like, she has advocated for me on so many things in so many ways that
that's awesome.
No person in like a boss-ish position has had at that point ever done for me. Wow. Like in so many ways, like race-wise, gender-wise, like she's really done a lot. And then with Theater Bug, like that's also like Corey and Lamel is fucking amazing, and I don't know what else to say. John, you've worked with Corey, yeah? Yeah,
I love working with Corey. And here's the thing, and I will say this, and I know this is going to be public, and I love what happens there, and I love her as a person, and I love collaborating with her. I've only taught one class for Theater Bug, and it's been a minute, but
would either of you like to explain what the organization of the company is?
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I usually don't care about the audience, but
Okay, so the Theater Bug, another thing that employs me. The Theater Bug is a local children's theater company that is like an all-inclusive space, and it is the first thing that I've ever been a part of that says that, and they actually mean that. Where like they're constantly trying to do better. So talking about racism, talking about like just ableism and like depression and shit like that, they put on real work. And these kids are fucking amazing. Also, there's that. But like, it's just a really, really good space. And it is the first time that I have seen equitable representation in a group, where it's not like I see like, oh, there's the 2 brown kids, they're the token brown kids. I'm like, oh no, they are as a part of that as anyone else. And their identities aren't erased by being there. Yeah. Their identities are celebrated by being there.
Yeah.
And like that goes into like disability stuff. Like we just did a production I don't remember time anymore. I think it was last year. Maybe it was this fall, or maybe it was this spring. I think it was. It doesn't matter. But it starred a nonverbal disabled Black kid, which I've never seen represented in any art that I've done, ever.
Yeah,
and
it's a massive to like to put a nonverbal in a stage production. Yeah, like even the character is a risk, because you're already taking like something you would give lines to.
And it was so
just
amazing.
Fucking removing it.
Yeah. No, it was fucking amazing. He did so good. The company themselves, like, I don't want to get too much on the giving cookies vote, because it's like, yeah, this is the bare minimum, y'all. Do it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But also, I can't help but, like, celebrate that kind of, like, actual fostering of kindness. I've never seen it. I've never seen it like that.
That kind of inclusion.
Yeah. So that's the Theater Bug. Back to you, John.
I'm sorry. I'm going to skip in 1 second, and I know it's talking about Greg. I just wanted to talk about the term inclusion and how that term bothers me. Just because that term in itself, it has a standard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has a standard that normies are a thing that people need to be included in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the problem with the phrase, like, I like inclusion, because it means that there's this group and then the weird ones need to be put in.
Yeah. That's why I use the phrase equity.
Yeah.
That's why I use that word. I very intentionally, because I think it most accurately describes what they do there for kids.
I know. That's awesome.
So, anyways, back to you,
Jon
Jon.
Royal.
Oh no, I mean that was. I mean you said it. I mean that was. I just love Corey LaMille as a person, and I love what they do, and I've seen it grow. That's the thing. And it keeps. Josh just really said it best. It's a deal where they keep wanting to do better. You know what I'm saying? And when I say better, I mean along every single metric. But the sense of community that is created. I've had several students that I had when they were younger at Nashville Children's Theater. I don't mind pubbing that organization. I love that organization. But I teach for them now. Actually, part of some of the stuff that's giving me life right now is the stuff that I'm able to work with and the people I'm able to work with there, because it's a really good, it's gotten to be a really good space to work in. And this online thing with theater is really tough. But that's another thing about the theater book. They did a full show written and then put it online. And
we're doing another one.
Oh, nice.
Working on it right now.
That's awesome.
All right, so I guess the question is then, since and again, I only really have worked a lot in the production space in the theater as far as producing shows. I've been in a lot of shows, but I'm always usually just a guest in somebody's weird ass show. So like, but on that conversation of just like the inclusion and exclusion, you're talking about a company that does equity well and does those concepts. So I guess the opposite question of that is, what experiences have you had that aren't well, and why? And you don't have to yet again name anyone. Please don't name names. But it's if we're just opposing and saying this is good, then a lot of people don't know what's bad.
Okay. And that's interesting because sometimes people sit down and they don't see. They're like, oh, this is fine. Yeah. I think that flat out, like just from a casting standpoint, if you right now are looking at a white homogeneously cast show, that's an issue.
Yeah.
I really think that's an issue. Not saying that whoever's casting that is the devil incarnate.
No, just warning you, your show won't do well for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. Just saying. Just saying. If you're doing that, also
nobody wants to see you anymore. We're done. We heard all your stories.
That's it.
We're over it.
That's it.
Yeah, I've gotten all the nuance. I've gotten every version of the nuance.
Yep. And so I mean, like, that's got to be done, but also what has got to be done, and I talk about this a lot. So it's a deal where myself as a Black artist, I am wanting. So this is my problem, and this has been going on for a long time. But this idea, and I can't believe this is not done. You know what I'm saying? And it keeps making a round again. It keeps dying and then keeps coming back as if that's the best that people in power can do. But this idea of colorblind casting has to go. It all has to go, because here's the deal. And I have not been able to articulate this until recently. And this is just from my perspective as a Black man. This is it. So, okay. And I know a lot of people who produce theater. I know a lot of people who direct theater, and they're like, "Yeah, I really want to see if I can cast the best actor for the role, things like that." All right. So I dig all that. But here's the thing: if you cast someone who looks like me as the best friend, no shade. I want everybody to get their bread. I want that to happen. But at the same time, here's the thing. If I'm watching this relationship and it's been structured in a way, this is where directing comes in. if it's been structured in a way, that's the thing. The people in my life that are white, if we are actually friends, we talk about race.
Right.
We talk about it a lot. We talk about ethnicity. We talk about those things. We talk about that as it relates to a plethora of issues.
Right. I was just having one quick conversation just the other day with Ash where I said, like, one of the things that has come out so good of at least this Black Lives Matter movement, where like all my white friends cared mildly throughout the last ones. Like, it took George Floyd for them to start posting shit. But like, it's nice as like they're starting racism jokes of not like being racist, but like how the system is horrible. And I don't feel like I have to do it half the time, which is nice.
It's nice having people to come to bat for you. Yeah. It's nice having people to come to bat for you that you felt or they didn't get it before. And it sucks that it took this amount for some people to get it.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to have or to be able to see who is actually your community. I think I was having a conversation with Kat recently. She was having another issue with somebody on Facebook that, you know, she thought was fine before, and now they're spouting things that are just not okay. And I think it was I said something like it's upsetting to find people that you thought you trusted and to like see their actual heart and be disappointed by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah. That's my thought. Just light it on fire.
I know.
Just.
I know.
No, I'm definitely in the like. It feels weird to talk about this in a public forum because this is something that I like. I do talk about, you know, with my Black and brown friends. You know, talking about, you know, really trying to like be observant of the actual work people are kind of doing right now.
Right.
But I also don't want to like. Because I don't want to center it either.
Right.
Like, which is also a problem because what tends to happen with all of these things is kind of rounding it back to Jon's things. Like, you can talk about it all you want, but if you don't center the voices that are actually affected by these things, what the fuck are you actually doing?
Yeah.
And on that point, with like, and this is a conversation about like the structure. It applies to theater, but it really applies to the arts in general. Is we're in a position right now where we're talking about, you know, trying to do race things and stuff. And this is a place where I feel like a lot of people who are like white directors, like white producers, shit like that, honestly, you might need to step down and have someone take your place who's actually of a marginalized identity to do that. I mean, at the very fucking least have.
I'm not hating that idea.
Yeah, and I mean,
for our listeners, we are all nodding. Very.
I'm not
That
hating
is
it.
where I'm going, Josh. I'm not trying to interrupt. I just want to say that's where I'm going with my thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I'll like keep it short then. We need to have, you know, Black and disabled and queer and trans people who are directing these things, who are given the finances to direct these things and show their stories from their perspective. Instead of having, you know, 10 writers and one of them may have been Black and one of them was a woman and also that's the same person. Like,
right.
It's like you need to give us space to tell our stories, and like we're gonna tell them anyways. But yeah, we give us that paper too.
Platforms would be nice. Is all we're saying.
It's
platforms.
It's about authenticity, and what I'm saying is like. This idea of colorblind casting. So you have a show, and then you decide, hey, I know this great Black actor. Ain't nobody else Black in the show. Let's put this one Black actor in the show. And so then they have a relationship with other characters in the show. And I'm sitting here watching, and I walk around as a Black person all day long, every single day, even when I'm asleep. So it's like,
wait. You don't dream of being white when you're asleep?
Sorry.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I swear there was books about that.
Yeah. Oh no. No. But my thing is, and I'm sitting there watching these characters have relationships with each other.
Yeah.
If one of the characters is not white, and they're or if one of the characters is not hetero, or if one of the whatever it is, and they're not actually talking about it.
Yeah.
My thing is, I want what I see on stage to be at least as interesting as my own life.
Yeah.
Like bare minimum, it needs to be at least as interesting as my own life.
That's actually one of the things that I liked a lot about this. Is kind of tying it to the theater issue a little bit, but you also have that same problem in cartoons and animation and that kind of thing. And one of the best shows that I've seen recently, actually it's kind of tied between Kipo and Age of Wonder Beasts, which I've never
Everybody
seen.
needs to watch Kipo. Watch Kipo.
Yes, if you have not watched Kipo, you need to watch it. It's fan-fucking-tastic.
Basically, like there's so many brown people you forget about it. Like you go like a season in and you're like, are there any white main characters? I don't think there are.
I don't think we saw a white character until like episode 6 or 7 of season 1.
Surely not a main one.
No, and it was nice. They also have like a mixed race people mentioned. You know, it wasn't even brought up. It was like it was commonplace. So, you know, you didn't realize that the character was mixed until you saw that she wasn't the same color as her dad.
Yeah, her dad's black. And you're like, okay, I mean, she's a pink, dark gray. Yeah, so you're just kind of like,
okay. And then you see her mom, and they've drawn her to look, you know, like she's from some sort of Eastern or Asian country, and it's never brought up. It's never.
At a certain point, you go like, wait, I see her features now. Like,
and I went into I did a bunch of research because I love the art, and I was like, oh my god, I have to figure out who this person is, and looked up his stuff, and it's from a web comic that he had designed years ago, but he's married to if I might be incorrect, I thought this is what I saw on Instagram, I could be wrong, but I think his wife is Korean, but he's a white guy, and they have a little mixed 3-year-old daughter, at least last I checked on whatever, and
like
it's
Kipo's 2 human best friends, because there's like a crew of 4 of them. Like 2 of them are mutants, but like it's 2 black people and a mixed black and Asian chick. Like that's the main characters of the show.
Yeah.
It's a cartoon. It's an apocalyptic cartoon. It's for kids, but it's super deep. It's on Netflix. Watch it.
Netflix.
Yes.
I'll watch it.
But number two, is Dragon Prince.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen
because
either.
Done by the same guys that did, or one of the same creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender. The cartoon, not the movie. Yet again, if you're listening in his audience, please do not watch the movie. But I mean, Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's on Netflix. It's from Nickelodeon. It's a cartoon. Watch at least 8 episodes. I love it. Back to the regular conversation.
Truth. No, absolutely amen to everything like that you just said. But that in Avatar, they were really good already at creating these different cultures, and you know, and everyone had a different skin color, and Dragon Prince, it's very much the same, but it's almost like skin color helps you identify like which clans are which.
Yeah.
But within those clans, there are different colors of those people.
Well, yeah, and it's definitely
like
magical
shades.
It's definitely full kingdom magical realism of like everybody's so multicultural and browns so don't matter in the world.
Right.
It's more like let's humans fight magic. Brown is not important.
One of the there's different types of or different clans of elves, and one of the elf clans are their hierarchy seems to be all women.
Yeah.
They're black.
Yeah.
And they all
French
speak
accents.
French.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
They're all. What'd you
Hold
say?
on.
French.
And they all
Hold on.
speak French.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. No, check
Yeah.
it out. Check it out. It's a whole nother thing, man.
It's
like,
fantastic.
yeah.
I love everything about it. But yeah, but it's almost like the conflict in that show also has nothing to do with race.
Yeah. Well, and the
Race is just
conflict
a
is yet again
byproduct.
like they did wonderfully in Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's ethics and emotions, the way
Yeah.
you go about life, and your procedures of how to treat other people that are the basis of all the characters.
Exactly. I mean, they have the two princes that are main characters in the show. One is white and older because he's a child from the queen's first marriage.
Yeah.
And then the second son.
First marriage never was brought up. It's not weird. It's not a thing.
No. And then the second son is mixed because the king is black.
Yeah.
And the queen's white.
Yeah.
So you have not only an interracial relationship that's ruling the kingdom, but they only have one child between them that is of mixed race.
Yeah.
And it's just, but it's never brought up as if it's an issue or something that someone has to consider, or, you know, oh, you need to know how they're going to view a black king. Like, it's never an issue because
They
it
treat
doesn't
them
exist here.
like they're people.
Yeah.
Well, that's new. That's new.
Brought to you by the Mixer. Treat them like people, because they're almost like people.
Fair. I'm going to find some light.
Sorry, we're going off on a TV show tangent there, but
Well, it was more about creative,
yeah,
about people being creative and
making those choices. Yeah,
which are easy to make. It was my only point is that you still run into those issues when you see cartoons and animation, and you can't just you know, hawk it off with, hey, here you go, here's a black Disney princess.
Yeah.
You
know,
it comes to what Josh is saying for me it's about centering people, but also about knowing when it's time to get out of the way. Like, get out of the way. And that's the deal. It's about, I'm not talking about, I'm just talking about step to the side or, but this idea of I have power, so I must keep power.
Right.
Is the weirdest thing going. You know
well, right, but it is that very concept, though, holistically, which is they think if our side gets in power, then we'll treat them the way they've treated us.
Yeah.
That's what's running in the back of the head. Like, I don't want to be a minority because we see that it's real shitty. But then they say it's not shitty at all.
But you're the one who did the shit.
Yes.
That's what I want to be like. I'm like, you're the one who was shitty. We are not you.
Yes.
Not you.
Yes.
You were shitty.
Yes.
I'm not. Who's to say that I'm going to be shitty? I resent that. I resent and so many other things. I think that that's another thing I love during this COVID period. I've had just a little more time to read, but I'm like working like crazy right now. I'm not saying that I'm making a lot of money, but I am working.
Yeah, exactly that.
It's just, to do so much of this stuff online requires an extra layer of training yourself. And so it's like, wait a second. So this is already less money than we would have made doing this for a full week in a room with people.
Yep.
And now I'm interacting with the people, the participants in a different way, not only during classes, but also out of classes. I'm corresponding with people more. I'm doing all those things. Where if I was in a room, I'd be like, so, hey, after class, can we talk about X? As opposed to sending emails and doing all of that. So it's interesting, but all that was a tangent. All I was really meant to say was the fact that I got a chance to finally read Ibram Kennedy's Stand from the Beginning.
Yep.
And if anybody out there hasn't read the book, I definitely recommend it for everybody. It's the history of racist ideas in America, and not just America proper. So we're not talking about 1776 on. We're also not talking about 1619 on. We're talking about the formation of this place as an idea from a Eurocentric lens
Right.
when people started to decide, hey, we want to buy and sell those people. Well, we've got to convince people they're not human to do it. Okay,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And then
Yep.
everything that kind of sprouted from there.
Yeah.
But there's so many instances where people are saying things like, well, we can't let them do that because then we're going to become slaves. And I'm like, how do you even
Now we're better than that. Sorry.
yes. I'm not saying
Like,
that, but I'm saying it.
oh
What-
no, I'm just
that
fucking
wouldn't even-
saying it.
Why would you? Why? That's my question. Why?
Money.
What good
Power.
would that do us? And
Money,
what good?
power. I mean, money,
But no-
power. I mean, like, here's the thing: is like it, and here's the largest quality is like, there's parts of me that are horribly evil. Like, there's parts of me inside that I could look at and be like, I know why people want power. Now, I
Sure.
wouldn't do with power what some people have done with power because I have levels of insanity. Or narcissism, or Trumpism. By the way, on this podcast, you're not going to find anybody who likes Trump. Welcome to the mixer. We don't like Trump.
Yeah.
That's just how that's probably going to roll. If we find somebody else who's a mixed person or a person of color who does, we will interview them.
We will take that banner down
So
off of our website.
I do know somebody. Go on.
Wow.
I like literally my interactions with this human were like, I hope you find a therapist who can unpack whatever it is that's going on with you, because holy shit, the amount of self-hatred that has to be present
Yeah.
to like be there is just like, yeah, I can't even like have a real
So
conversation.
here's the
with you
thing, though, is
because
I don't know anybody.
I'm
So
not a therapist.
I haven't met him yet. So like I haven't met a person of color who's on the opposite side of this to me. Like I just haven't. So like maybe that's my bubble, but like I just
I
no,
think it
anyways,
depends
anyway,
on. I think
anyways,
it depends on how you
Yeah.
identify as to whether or not you can support that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is okay. Sorry, I'm like I want to respond to like 9 different things in this.
yeah.
So I'm gonna pick one,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna bring it back to that talking about, you know, like in this, so the conversation that we are having about, you know, white people being scared that we're gonna do with power what they have historically done
Right.
is actually relevant, because we have perfect case examples of what happens when more genuinely, like, just different crowds of people are in charge of these things. Because I think about a lot of these shows that we've just talked about, where even if it's not even if it's not like a black or disabled or whatever person in charge, those people are still part of making the decisions. Those are still people that are in the writing rooms.
Right.
That's why like Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra are so fucking good.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know what? Brown
Absolutely.
women were writing on that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like you have people who have those perspectives, because like this is like almost to your like almost a little bit antithetical, but I know what you were saying. I just think if someone just heard it a little bit out of context, they might not get that. Is, you know, we have those conversations about race with white people, but also we don't always have those conversations with each other, and those aren't our only problems.
Yeah.
Those aren't that's not our only sources of like existing. Like, we also experience joy and pain and sadness and sorrow in of things that have nothing to do with our racial backgrounds, and shows like Avatar do that so fucking beautifully, because it comes up, but it is not even central to most of any of the main characters, but most of the characters, that is a part of who they are. And like the kind of like talking about, like, because I think Avatar is more focused on Chinese Japanese imperialism
Yeah.
than white colonialism, which is bad but different, question mark. That's a whole book on itself.
I'm out of that conversation.
I just want to say that I just appreciate you bringing, and like I said, I'm not trying to, it's not, you know, I'm not trying to send us down rabbit holes or tangents or anything like that. but you did.
No, we keep going.
You did mention Legend of Korra, and I absolutely love that show so very much. I love Avatar. I mean, that kind of goes without saying. I definitely agree with everything that's been said about Avatar, but to watch it and then to watch Korra, I think because Avatar was so good to me, I did not know that they could raise game up so highly, and then
they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Because they created a show that you could grow up with. Because the first show, Avatar, was, you know, much more about 11 and 12-year-olds, and that story is very much through the eyes of 11 and 12-year-olds. And then you get to Korra, who is like, you know, young adulthood, like college age, and her problems are college age problems.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I love about it.
So
go ahead.
So to me, it left off with, and I'm sorry, this show wasn't planned to be Avatar related, but I'm fine with it being because I fucking love this show. So like to me, what the show's biggest deal was, I was a martial artist too, so it was, and I love animation, and it was beautiful, and all this stuff happened. But like, it answered questions to me that I don't normally deal with in sort of action shows or action cartoons, which honestly to me is, like I said, as a sort of peaceful person and person who's been trained in violence but tries to move away from that in every conversation, Avatar's question at the end of how do I stop this dude without killing him, and all of like his spiritual leaders go just like, no, kill him, like he's summoning. Do you remember when he's sitting there and he's pulling out the other avatars and they're all just like, oh yeah, no, I kill him. Like that's what I do. Like, but that of finding we didn't bend the elements, but we bent the spirit in the old days. Like that conversation was what was continued in Korra, which was what's the nature of power and how to bend man or to bend power.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so Legend of Korra like touches on so many things that like I appreciate, you know, talking about like, you know, that the question of like Aang's nonviolence and everything. Korra doesn't kill any of the antagonists.
No.
Like, I mean, spoiler alert for a show that's 6 years old.
Yeah.
Like the first two of the antagonists don't die.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. Two of and it's I think that's really important to a lot of the conversations they're having about violence. But in that, I love the conversations on PTSD that are brought up through Korra's character.
Yeah.
Like, because like we always like have these heroes in shows that like don't face like and they really do they touch on it, and like to the point where I'll say they talk about it with The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
They head on our fucking, this is a main plot thing.
Yeah.
We are dealing with depression. We are dealing with PTSD.
In all 4 seasons. In all 4 seasons they do it, because you can tell how she's emotionally affected by her confrontation that she has to have in the first season. And then in the second season, it's her damn uncle. You know what I'm saying? I'm spoiling it for people. Sorry.
Yeah.
But like, and then the third season blew my mind.
Best season. Best season.
It's one of the best things ever. And then to go to the 4th season, I don't even want to say anything about it. It's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And the 4th season is like, it is the plot continues, and it's its own season unto itself. But she's also facing someone who's also dealing with their own damage.
Yeah.
And very, very similar in different ways. And so, and from the 3rd season, Korra is she's emotionally scarred. She's physically scarred, and so much so that we even see a character's mental affect their physical being.
Absolutely.
And in a very smart and real life and help you as an audience member cope with stuff in your own life kind of way.
Oh yeah.
Important.
Like the episode of the 4th season with Toph in it or well, the main episode with Toph in it, because I guess she's in a couple episodes. But like that episode, that's like that episode's therapy.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, and I love Avatar and Korra both do this, but Avatar, when he's up with the monk and he's trying to get his chakras unlocked. Monkey Yatsu. He's trying to get his chakras unlocked or whatever that bit was, and then Korra later in is it the third season or the fourth season with the metal bender with the police chief.
Yeah,
Third season?
I think the fourth season.
Maybe the fourth season.
No, okay. Ashley's saying third.
Yeah, it's when they're at the metal bending city.
Because she has to get all her shit to lose it.
Right. So they do acupuncture on her, but she has the same moment where she goes through too much and runs out, and the guy says, "If you stop here, you're gonna get sick.
You're gonna get sick.
This won't work anymore." And that's such a great, I think, to me though, in the process of healing is like if you Star Wars, the second Star Wars, where you just run off half without learning your lessons. You're gonna come back and Yoda's dead.
So the one thing that's I think is good about that scene though, and you're thinking of Lin.
Yeah, Lin.
Yeah, Lin Beifong.
Yeah. So when she leaves, because she's like, I'm fucking done with it. I don't want to dig up old memories. This is not why I'm here. I'm not here for this shit, right? Which is, I think, at least I identify with that reaction. Where someone's like, you don't feel well. Here, let me stick needles in you. Oh my God, why am I having like an existential crisis? No, fuck, no one wants that. That's not the treatment you went there for, kind of thing. But she runs out. The fact that she comes back.
Yeah.
Because she could have just as easily in any other cartoon been like, no, I'm fine. And then like, passed out at some crucial moment and then passed out at some crucial moment when someone needed her, but she didn't finish her acupuncture. So like well, that's usually how a cartoon goes. But the fact that she went back and was like, okay, no, I'm sorry, you were right. This is horseshit. Go ahead and finish it. We'll just get through it and we'll fix it.
Also, for the first time, who hasn't had that doctor experience where he puts all the needles into her and he's like, how are you feeling? She's like, nothing. And he goes, well, we're going to need some more needles. Like, I've had that doctor moment too many times. I look at her like, we're going to need some more needles.
Wow. Oh, man.
And like, I definitely had that
your tolerance
therapy.
is really high.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
No, but the fact that she decided to come back is a huge thing. And I'm also glad that they showed her doing, because that is a huge step. And people forget that like, oh, you can start something. You can start therapy. You can have the wrong therapist. You can be on the wrong medication to begin with. So like, it may be shit when you start, but if you keep going back, you're eventually going to find what you need to get help.
Yeah.
But usually if someone has a bad experience right off the bat, they're like, oh no, I hate therapists. Or like, oh no, I'm never touching medicine. You're like, okay, how many therapists did you go to? Well, I went to this one over, and what was the next one's name?
Well, and I mean, honestly, it is doing the work, whether personally or for things exterior to you, which is like, I read this thing and then it bothered me, and then I didn't really want to internalize what that meant. You know what I'm saying? Like,
gotta keep going back in.
Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, because it hurts. It hurts for everybody. It hurts. Like, doing the work is awkward. It is obviously, if it wasn't awkward, you wouldn't have to do the work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I had it best described to me by a therapist as, sorry.
You're doing horrible audio things.
Sorry. It's all the
It's a typewriter. Ashley is typing on a typewriter currently.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
She's typing the rest of the podcast. So just hold it up to the screen, and then we have to read what she's typed.
Yes. That's
I'm
doing the closed captioning at the same time as everyone's talking.
Accessibility,
hey,
yeah.
No, I'm no one's stenographer. I'm so sorry. It's not a skill I have. But she said to me, okay, I know you hate this, but this is like getting your oil changed.
Yeah.
She goes, if you don't do maintenance, your shit's going to break down. And I was like, Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. So, like, you're going to have to go and get the gunk out of your brain.
Yeah.
You just have to.
Yeah.
You have to get a clean flush. You
Yeah.
have to start fresh.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be that you have a serious mental problem. It needs to be, you need to go into it with the either the mindset or the motivation of maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
It's
go.
Well, this idea.
oh no, it's
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
a classic Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, you. Oh no. So this ties back to us loosely touching on religious things. So I think that's why church is so bad for so many people, is because they are trying to find that maintenance.
Right.
They just have a bad therapist.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Oh, yes. And I think that also gets back to what you were saying earlier, Tavius, about this idea that, well, I'm here and I'm told that this is God's will. So
Yeah.
this is God's will that I
Yeah.
feel happy after every interaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep figuring it out. And that's,
Yeah.
it's a fine line between
That's
that and
abusive?
toxic.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I was in a stereotypical cult, but not so stereotypical. It was a production off of another production of a Christian company, and I was, 18, I guess, and just like, I don't know, I was doing lots of drugs, and I ain't got problems with drugs, but I was doing lots of drugs, doing a bunch of stuff that was unpastorally. So I was like, let's go back into church organization, and it'll be art, and it'll be those cool things. And it was something that was just consistently toxic. The dude who headed it was incredibly toxic. He liked to have, like, most of the people he had in there were about 18 or so, but fresh church people. I wasn't such a fresh church person. I had been out of the house for 4 years at that point. So I had a sense of adulthood and autonomy. But he did a lot of churchy 18-year-olds so that they didn't quite know what autonomy was yet, because they had just come off of the church parents.
Sheltered.
Yes, yeah. And so the way he was able to manipulate the spirit was very, very huge. And it's also one of the things that broke me very quickly of being spiritually willed into things that are not cool with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and none of it was sexual or abusive, in the sense of other than control of what you could do with your time and how you could do the time, and holy relationships you could be with in it was a sort of place that if you started a relationship with somebody, you should announce it to the leadership.
Oh, so like communist Russia.
Oh yeah, or Christian organizations holistically, like that's a huge thing. Like,
oh, really?
Who the how you're touching and why is what Christianity mostly does at this point. Like, it's a lot of the job in intake of the large church holistically. It's just about who you touch and why.
Well, yes. But so you have to wait. So you'd have to like announce it to
the people who are leadership in the company.
Jesus's HR department?
Yes.
Or what are you...
Yes.
But just, I have a question. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm legitimately confused.
Yeah.
Like, if you have to announce that you're in a relationship, are you like, in case...
So they could sanction it?
Yeah, pretty much, give or take, yeah.
Man.
I'm not saying you know the people in this company, but you sure as fuck know people who are in this company. Jon Royal, Josh, and Ashley.
Okay.
Oh, no, we weren't in it. Let's be clear.
No, the three of those weren't that crazy. But you definitely know people that were in it.
No, yes.
Well, okay, I know people that we're like close to who were there with you at that time.
Yeah.
Is there anyone outside of that I know?
No, that were in it.
Okay.
Okay. There's definitely three people that you know, though, that was also in this crazy cult. So.
Yes.
I mean, to me, it broke real quick, because as soon as you're like, God gives me authority for you to not to be out past 9, and I'm like, I'm an insomniac, you can go fuck yourself, I'm gonna go sit and read. like we lose each other real fast. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, it was things like that made me leave the church. It was things like I don't know that.
Mormon church. That's not real Christian church, Ashley.
Whoa.
What? Do you
It's
not
funny.
remember? Do you not remember the Mitch Romney whole election?
I know.
Like what the whole right said about him until he
I know.
got close. Like Mitch
Yeah,
Romney
everyone was like,
almost
"It's
a Christian.
If anything, Mormonism is Christian fan fiction."
I've never
Christianity
heard
is
it
Christian
explained that
fanfiction.
way, but oh my God.
It is because they took the Bible and then they made their own little fan fiction section and
Okay,
added
but
onto it.
also still, I consider the New Testament also Old Testament fan fiction. So,
Well, yes,
I
it
mean,
is to a degree, yes. And like, but this is like because it's 3 other different, and it's supposed to be
Yeah.
like an addendum. It's not
Yeah.
its own. It's not its own entity.
right.
You're still reading the Bible. You're also
Right.
reading from the Book of Mormon, Pearl of Great Price, all that kind of stuff. They're together. So it's like it's Christian fan fiction, essentially.
So
So-
I don't know anything about the Book of Mormon.
Josh.
My one of my mentors is Mormon.
Mm-hmm.
Who the professor who really helped me on the pathway to becoming a theater director. So we
Sure.
would talk about it because I was fascinated by like, so you do this? What? So you do this? Can you explain this? So I don't know the premise. Is the premise essentially that Joseph Smith encountered Native Americans and they led him to a spiritual awakening? No, it's not. Okay. See, that's the thing. I don't know.
Ash, would you like
No,
to
the
do,
redskin is a curse from God.
Ash, as the only speaking former Mormon here, would you like to give us a general
Okay. So
pitch?
And this is the first time I knew that you had a Mormon background, Ashley. Or
you liar.
I would have asked before.
Liar.
Liar!
Liar.
Me?
I know for a fact I've said to your face I used to be Mormon. You know what your reaction was every time? Oh shit,
What?
you were Mormon? Every time.
Well, then that's
Good
happening.
memory too. He's got the
right
good
now.
memory. He's
No,
got the good
in
memory.
in your defense, people see me, they talk to me, they don't straight up think, oh, I bet that bitch used to be Mormon. No, it doesn't really.
That's fair. That's
So,
fair.
That's fair. Okay, so here's the elevator pitch for Mormonism. Christ is crucified, appears to Mary afterwards, says, I ain't got no
So this
body,
is the
don't touch
part
me.
about the earth.
Yeah, and then, away. And says, I'll come back, right? Okay, so then later, Joseph
Wait,
Smith
that's the part?
is trying to figure out what church to join. He's like, I don't know if I should be a Protestant or a Catholic or he said none of the religions seemed right. Decides to go out into the woods, prays about it, is visited by who? Moroni at that point?
Moroni, I think it's
No.
Moroni. Is it not Moroni who gives
Or
him
is it God that visits him?
I thought it was Moroni, but
At that
I
point,
don't know as well as you do.
it might be Moroni.
I've only read it once.
Okay, the angel Moroni. Pierce says,
Haven't got too deep into the wiki on it.
hey, says there's another testament of Jesus Christ. It's an account of his life after the resurrection when he was on this continent.
You're just
'Cause he
telling the
walked over
story
here.
at this time.
Because at that point, I don't even know. That part doesn't make any sense to me.
Wait,
Because
so
that's my question. Okay, wait.
So,
On that
'cause
side note,
because
no,
there was
no.
Pangea before it.
Jesus was
yeah,
free
that's the
Pangea.
Pangea. But that's my thing. Is like if
So,
if
so the
Pangea
Native Americans
split,
used to be Jews.
right? The idea being that all the brown people were on one big continent, and then when Christ got crucified, the earth literally split. It was what made Pangea break.
North America got established at that point, by the way. At that point.
Oh my
Now,
God.
here's to say, and I just want to include this just in our podcast. If we're making any light of people's beliefs, I understand that you have them, and that is not our intention. It's
And if
just
it
a conversation about things we don't know. Also, I make fun of my own all the time because,
Me too.
magical Jesus upsy downsy sounds just as reasonable.
Sure. And that's not I'm not shitting on Mormons, and I'm not shitting on Mormonism. I'm literally just saying, to me, it made no sense to me, and so I left.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah.
Where
But
did
anyway, yeah, that's
so. Are the Native Americans not a part of this story then?
okay.
No,
yes.
they are because they're Israelites.
So yes,
Oh,
They're other tribes.
the continent was like this.
Of
they're
the
one
Israelites,
of the tribes.
they're other tribes.
Yes.
actually, that I understand that positioning makes sense.
Yes.
That's all I'll say.
And okay, so the test. This is also where if the story wasn't wiggy enough before, it doesn't seem any more wiggy than any other Bible story of someone appearing to someone else, right?
Yeah.
But then the angel tells him that there are these writings from the tribes that are on these gold tablets that are buried on this hill. He shows him where to dig. He digs them up. But Joseph Smith won't let anybody else see them. And he is provided by the angel a Urim and Thummim, which are two seer stones that are supposed to help him translate the book into English.
Touch King Arthur here, but that's fine.
Except he has to do it alone by himself in a dark room and asks his buddy Hiram to dictate for him.
Okay. Okay.
Can you talk about when they go away?
Yeah. Okay. So then Hiram is telling the story to his wife. And his wife says, "You know he sounds crazy, right?" And he goes, "No, really, this is legit." And she goes, "Okay, how about this?" It took a lot of convincing, but Hiram convinced Joe Smith to give him some of the pages that he had dictated and let him take them home. So his wife says, "Give me those pages. I will keep them. Go back to him and tell him you lost the pages and you need him to retranslate that section. If it comes out different, you know he's screwing with you." So he goes there, goes back. Joe Smith is pissed, obviously, that he's lost these pages. He says, "We're going to have to retranslate." So Joe Smith says, "Well, I have to pray about this now." He comes back out and he says, "Well, God's angry at me because I gave you those pages. So he won't let me translate from that book anymore. I have to translate from another book on these plates."
That you can interpret for yourselves, audience. Look it up. Google it. Also, they can't do caffeine or tobacco, but that's a whole nother conversation. Google it, audience.
Oh, no, that reason is very easy. That, I think, was Hiram's wife again, was she got tired of people spitting tobacco on the floor of the church and shit like that, so she banned smoking and tobacco and any products. It was just that she was tired of the mess.
What's Hiram's wife's name?
Sarah? And I gotta remember what Hiram's, I can find what Hiram's actual full name was. This is just my kid brain remembering story names. So
on the note though of like, you know, she was just annoyed. That's why she put it in. I mean, yet again, I have this whole theorem about, you know, laws and the purpose of them, which is, you know, any group is perfectly fine. Ash, we can hear you typing.
Sorry, I'm stopping.
Yeah. Any small group perfectly fine, right? The
Very
four of us can have a
clearly, that
reasonable
happened.
conversation. All of us are fine, right? You add another 5 people to this conversation, we maybe need to put in a talking stick or something else to have this conversation facilitated, or raising hands or something like that. We take it to 20 people, right? And then we need some sort of person pointing out the people who were talking, right? We move it past that and you need a policy about who needs to talk and how to hang out and how to socialize. And then Carl comes in and he fucks a donkey. And everybody goes, "Carl, we didn't think we needed to write down in our policy book that you shouldn't fuck a donkey. But clearly we now need to set a policy rule that somebody can't come in and fuck a donkey." And so this, to me, is how legal documents get formed. This is how church policies get formed. This is how religious law gets formed, in the very same fact that in the Bible, It does say that a woman can't go out in the street to a man who's fighting and grab his balls and pull him back inside the house to stop him from fighting. That seems like a real specific event. That's not like women were doing this all the time. This is like, oh shit, Carl's wife just did this.
It's interesting to frame that way, that policy, this idea that I feel like sometimes we think that policy, no matter where it is, no matter what institution, sorry, that's my train.
That's fine.
Yeah,
You have your own train?
It's like policy is not, it's reactionary.
Yeah.
A majority of the time. And I think that in itself is frightening.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Well, and it's terrifying because it is yet again like the police standard at this point, which allows fear to be your reactionary point of why things are made. Like cops get to make a decision out of fear. Yet again, we probably talked about this last time, or I've just talked about this all the time, of just the insanity standard of if somebody's afraid, they get to make justified actions. And so that's the thing. If somebody does something weird and we make a policy, something does something else weird and we make another policy, we make another law about it. And those standards are all generally made by stuff that people are afraid of. And, you know, and I say this over and again, 9/11 is a horrible thing and a horrible experience. We are in a world that so many times people of that in the United States have died and people are arguing about masks. But we let the Freedom Act completely do all those crazy things because people died in the tower. And I understand that we should do things that are effective. But we give so much more for one thing than we do another, and often it's violence.
Yeah.
This is my argument for the difference between mask wearing
the mask
and
isn't brown people that we can blame for the
Freedom
problem.
Act and all that kind of stuff. Which ultimately, if you were weighing them, feels
Patriot Act.
Sorry. Which of these precautionary measures feels
who is not
more annoying to you?
To how I feel about
wearing a mask,
I got an advertisement
or going
today.
through the full
I was
security at
scrolling through
TSA.
the internet. I got an advertisement for like a Naruto
Going
headband,
through the full
but it
security
had
at TSA.
an American flag on it with a slash through it.
Which
And
I
Now, is
very
this-
often have to do because
The
I
internet knows
rarely
me.
ever make it through without having to be patted down.
So, question. But we let
I'm sure you can
we
Google
let this happen
Um,
for our safety. We let it take 2 hours to get from your car to your gate to take a flight because we have to go through so many security measures, and yet a mask is where you're pissed.
Yep.
That's also true.
Yep. We're not masks are directly something you have to do every day versus something you can just flare a flag about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
well,
Where is this thing?
this is where
No. I'm
algorithms
saying
kind
that
of
if
fail
you can't afford one,
for
I
me.
will make you one.
And see your message. I'm gonna finish
I
this
do
point real
like.
quick, and we'll go
By
back
the
to
way,
that.
I bought a plague
but-
mask in January.
So
because,
the internet
like I
only
said earlier to
advertises
you
things
folks
to
that
me
I had talked to Ash
after I
about
have
this really
purchased
early, so I went and bought a plague
I
mask.
don't get new
But then the internet
advertisements.
kept
I
offering
don't
me
get
other
new
plague
advertisements.
masks,
I only
and I
get
was
them
like,
after
I
I
think I
sought
have
out an
enough.
item
Like,
and then
one
bought
is
it.
fine. How many
However,
plague
super
masks
weird.
do you
How
have
many
to
people
do?
who like
masks
get
did you buy?
advertisements for
Just
shit?
the
one.
And it's like,
No,
this is a thing
Dave,
you might like.
But they kept
For me, I
offering
get like
to me,
shit
like,
for like,
in
like I
Google's-
need
more.
It's like really
in
bad.
defense
Like I
of
like
Google's
recently
algorithm,
upgraded my computer, and like
you
now it's
do
marketing
buy
me
a
all
gas
of my
mask
computer
at least
parts, and
once
I'm
a
like,
year.
dog,
That is true. I have a different
I already
show,
bought one that's
which is
better.
called Spooning in the
I'm
Apocalypse.
not buying a new one for
Which
like
we do
years.
photo shoots
Like-
where people get gas masks for the comedy show
Because it's
that
a
is Spooning in the
post-apocalyptic.
Apocalypse. Yes.
Yeah, it's
I don't buy them
post-apocalyptic
for
thing.
just putting it in my bunker.
No.
I don't have a bunker. I mean, I didn't talk about a bunker. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. After?
Yeah. No, that's when you go, man, your cookies are old.
Yep.
You need to refresh them cookies. That's old. Old as hell.
I've had the reason why I asked that, the reason why I sounded like surprised, because I've had that experience that I've been at a job where I'm sitting there talking about a thing, and they'll send me to the store to buy said thing. And I never searched it, never did any of that. But then somehow social media would say, you wanted X. And I was like, first off, Google. I never wanted any of that.
Or Google.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's always when I pick it up, I pick up my phone and I go, all right, I know you motherfuckers are listening to me.
Yes.
Thank God my life is boring.
Yes. I'm like, good luck with this, because this is not entertaining.
No.
I work in entertainment. This ain't it.
I don't find this, I don't find it cute. I don't find it helpful. If anything, what it is doing is confirming the fact, like, I'm a tech savvy person. I really am. So yeah. I know when I have searched for something and what cookies are and when things are advertising to me. And I know damn well that I was just talking about something and never searched a damn thing.
You have a GPS in your
never
pocket.
Searched a thing.
And that my phone was listening to me.
Yep.
So
thing.
Whatever you got, whatever creepy thing, creepy overlord thing you guys are doing, it's working. I appreciate it. But I'd really like it if you could maybe like gear it towards stuff that would be actually useful for me. Like, hey, it's 1:30. It's time for your nap.
Yeah.
Although I did see I saw a tweet the other day that said, don't worry about Bill Gates putting a microchip in your vaccine because Mac offered it to you several years ago and you paid $1,000 for it.
Exactly. Or that also makes me laugh about older people who are having this.
See, that's actually the background
aversion to the COVID app, the tracing.
That's actually what that was about.
Yeah.
You know, and it's usually an older generation that's, you know, they're like, oh, and they're gonna know where I am and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay,
they already know.
No, they've known. It's not even the phone, you guys. This is my conspiracy theory.
And then it grows all of the
If you really
plans.
want to go into conspiracy theory, they have known where you old folks are since you got that smallpox vaccination.
yeah. Like, if we're going crazy about it,
since they took your fucking skin tag in the fucking 60s, they have known where you are.
Yeah.
What is the big fucking deal?
Yeah.
If they know exactly where you are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, is I go with the conspiracist theory that it's rain. It's rain that allows them to track us. And so it's been rain since, like, maybe the Romans, because the Romans put microchips in rain. I don't know. It's not sounding any weirder than flat Earth. I'm sorry.
It's like Jadoon.
I can make it up as I go, too.
It's the Jadoon.
I'm just doing it for the
It was a microchip.
If we took the rain microchips, does that mean that when it rains and the water goes through the water cycle, that the chips return to the atmosphere? Is that what? Okay.
Yeah.
Or it's just washing.
That's also how they create storms.
No, I think maybe it's washed. If it hits your skin, it's
actually
actually running off and like taking DNA samples to places.
I think I read it on I read it on 4chan.
Yeah. Or that the rain is more like the Jadoon from
no, I haven't.
Doctor Who, and it's like a fusion scoop.
All right, you're right. I gotta
And
fact
that's how
check
they're
that.
collecting
John,
information.
Also, have you
Is that
noticed
true?
that Franklin is usually more room temperature than the rest of the counties?
Oh, I'm
just saying.
I'm already convinced that Franklin is Ryza
Oh yeah.
from Star Trek.
Are we doing this for the audience? Because yeah.
It's true, but it's true though. Like, I mean, come on, Franklin is
I
straight
hope
up
somebody
Ryza.
starts right at that bit though, where we started going into making stuff up. I hope for some reason just somebody cuts to the middle and just gets right in there. I heard this people of color message the other day, and they were just talking about rain microchips.
I hope that person. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I did hear a theory.
Mhm.
Oh, did you Snopes that shit?
Shit. If they're talking about me on 4chan.
You need to Snopes that shit. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I will not comment about. No.
Okay, John. So one quick question.
Around with 4chan. As soon as somebody says 4chan, I'm like, oh shit. No, but yeah.
All right,
We're
so
living
John, one quick question before you roll. I want to know. So you post Doctor Doom a lot. You like Doctor Doom a lot, at least in some. So what's the motivation behind the Doctor Doom? Do you feel like your face is scarred? Do you have metal armor that you're wearing? Do you also dabble in technology and magic?
I won't divulge any of that. Or if I have, I just feel like of all the villains anywhere, this dude is the most. And there's definitely textual evidence to counter this.
I want to be the CEO of the planet.
I feel like this dude is the most upfront. Like, yo, listen, hey, I don't have any other purpose. I just want to rule the world. I want to. I think I'll be better at it than anyone else. I mean, that's it is essence. That's him. It's none of.
Yeah.
I'm a big X-Men reader, so I was for a long from the time I was up until there was this wounded idea of defensive kind of.
I am the shovel.
Yeah, Eric Magnus. You know the I mean, well, yeah. I mean, he's definitely. So I mean, I would say that can be played Magneto very often as an anti-villain in a sense.
Sure.
That he is just working for justice. Where you're definitely, I mean, Joker's one of the ones who's just working for chaos or whatever his joke is. But you're right. Dr. Doom is just like, I want to rule you all.
So, okay.
And I want my mom back. I want my mom back real bad. I'll go to hell, demon deals. I want my mom back.
So would you? His
abusive mom.
Mm-hmm.
So as an X-Men fan, you're gonna take Dr. Doom over Apocalypse then?
Apocalypse though has a whole nother thing though.
I'm gonna go way down into the nerd rabbit hole here.
Yep.
So
we didn't bring you shovels at all.
Okay, okay. All right. If anybody
I am the shovel bitch.
Does anybody remember remember the confrontation between Apocalypse and the High Evolutionary during the Evolutionary War? It's not. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking old school. We're talking old school, but yeah.
Yeah.
They had a square off where it's like one of the best things I've ever read in a comic book ever, because they're sitting there.
My fave.
They're sitting there talking about how, because at the end of spoiler alert. They're just fighting, but like it's a crossover. It's an annual crossover, y'all. So this
spoiler
is like
alert, they just fighting.
But it's not like the pivotal who is like, nah, man, they just fighting and they're having this philosophical discussion simultaneously while fighting, which is dope as hell.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So, and they ended like this. The High Evolutionary, of course, is trying to usher forth the next stage of humanity, which is very much a mutant theme, except for the High commentary. These crossovers happen all throughout the Marvel universe at this point.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting there talking about it, and Apocalypse lays down. So the High Evolutionary is coming from this in a place of shame. He's coming at it like, we can be more, there's more. And then Apocalypse is like, yo, man, check this. I'm immortal. You're immortal now, but you're new to this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sit here and tell you that the humans, the mortals, the mutants, and all of that line, every single moment, it's very Star Trek in that every single moment that they live is an act of courage. They're here for like this long. I admire them.
Oh, yeah.
Apocalypse is in this place where he's like, yo, he just, he's pre-Darwin, but he's like, yo, man, I'm going to take this all the way to the next phase. And he says, before he disappears, he tells the High Evolutionary, he says, you do my work for me, and you do it well. And then he steps off, which is like very cool-ass Apocalypse.
Okay,
yes, which is why he's the best, because also he's a bad dude who delegates.
Yes, true.
Come on.
Oh yeah.
True.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, so I'm gonna drop in one more quick question, just because another. I don't think I have a comic book guest on here in a minute.
Oh, I have a comment. That's still comic book, but go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, it's the quick question it's a really quick question. The quick question is. How's being brown? How's being comic book nerd? And how are those things affecting?
Blurred. I'm a motherfucking blurred.
Blurred. Here's the deal. I find oh man, that's a long answer. I
can have you back. It's okay.
Oh, okay, great. I thank you. I feel like it's great because the last two, and I'm so happy this is a tie-in, and I'm not trying to get commercial with it, but the last couple years I went to Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Typically during this time of year, I'm working in a program that I love to work in Los Angeles called Willpower to You. That is, I can't even begin to talk about how holistic the program is as far as people who are walking in the door and addressing every single part of them and building a space where everyone can show up whole. It's been the engine of my practice. But the last couple years, I have a friend who works for Comic-Con who used to live in San Diego. She lives here now. And I said, hey, I would love to go. But she said, oh, just come on, John, come on. And she got me like a way that I could buy a pass way later than the pass date. And so I just took the train down. And so the last couple years, this year, of course, no, because I'm anywhere, especially on the damn train.
Yeah.
No
trains, planes, or automobiles.
Yeah. And so I took the train down, and I'll be at Comic-Con for the entire day and just Comic-Con it out. But this is the thing that I found. I found like the really popular stuff, quote unquote popular stuff. Like I was waiting in line to talk to one of the creators of Avatar for like the first 40 minutes that I was there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, y'all? This is for the birds. I'm not doing this. So I got my handy dandy Comic-Con guide out, and I started looking for panels that were saying inclusivity across the spectrum in comics. I started looking for stuff like Black comic writers and how trans comic writers, right? I was looking for all of these things.
Oh yeah.
And let me tell y'all, at Comic-Con, I gotta say, there was tons of seats for these forums, and I'm like, hey, here I am. Let's do this. And so I got a lot of really good stuff just from those 2 years of forums, because I realized I could go to Comic-Con and I didn't have to I could go downstairs on the merch level, and it's a crazy zoo of I don't have a real big problem with crowds, but after a while, it's just too many people. And also, I don't. All right, so everybody's listening to this. I have a really complicated relationship with how I feel about Alex Ross. Like, and especially like
yeah, but I mean it's
I know.
the sheer pretension of his booth. Like
yeah,
it's hundreds of booths down there, but
Yeah.
he's got like his other
Throne.
booths are carpeted, but his carpet is different.
Of course.
It's just so gross.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah.
it's
Not
just
to
Still,
say-
Kingdom Come is one of my favorite pages I've ever seen. Though.
because I love Mark Waid.
It's cute.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gorgeous. Although, you know, I felt that way about Alex Ross until I was just like, you know what? I'm sorry. Mike Mignola takes it over anybody else for me.
All right. I believe you.
Yeah, I got done. Like, I'm like, all right, you can.
Mike Mignola, Hellboy, for anybody in the audience, look it up, Google it. She
Any
loves
art.
the stark, sort of like sharp, hard lines.
It's hard light. It's a lot of negative space. It's very, very like, it's almost two-dimensional in the way that he draws stuff. It's very block art, but he puts so much in tiny spaces.
Wow.
And with so little shapes, and it's just
Uh,
my comment.
I just wanted to just Comic-Con. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I had a really, really deep discussion, for me, deep discussion with this guy. His name is Jon. I think his name is Jenkins. I'm not sure. If you have seen the graphic novel version of Octavia Butler's Kindred, he did the art for that, and he won an award. He won an Eisner.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. I'll have to look that up.
So he was in a forum, and he said some stuff that I really dug on, and I just really sat there and affected me, like to the point to where they cleared, because they're always trying to get you to clear the room. I just kind of sat there and just had to take it in.
Yeah.
But one of it was about representation in comics, and they were asking most of the people on the panel. There are a couple of trans creators on the panel. There were like 3 black people. There was a one black woman who is queer but also disabled. She talked. They were all talking about the first time that they had seen representation of themselves in comics. And I was sitting there trying to think about it, trying to think about how I would have answered that question. And I thought about he's not the first time, but I remember a significant, and maybe we've talked about this. The significant in mid '80s. I was a collector of All-Star Squadron. There was a hero in there. He's from Detroit. He's a black dude from Detroit called Amazing Man. And his costume's utterly ridiculous. But his powers are not. He's like the Crusher Creel of like he can absorb anything and become it and things like that. And so they were not on some, you can look these covers up. They had him fighting this dude who looked like a Klansman who had a rope around his neck with a red, white, and blue Klan uniform. Real American. And there was like a point where they were squaring off. This is a DC.
He was called real.
He was called
Real
American. Yes. And we were fighting. They were squaring off in Detroit. And so All-Star Squadron happens at an alternate Earth during World War II. So
it's DC, right?
It's DC,
yeah.
So here's the thing. But he talked about on that panel, he talked about a thing called symbolic annihilation. And the idea that if creators do not feature you or represent you, the next step is they can just declare that you don't exist, and they can exterminate you. And so I went, and so like I wanted to go talk to him after that panel. I was like, I don't want to be that dude. But then I walked out and I was like, wait a minute, this is Comic-Con. Everybody is that person here.
Exactly.
So I went to another panel that he was on, and I caught him, and I had the conversation. I told him the whole thing, and he remembered Amazing Man. And we sat there and just kind of chopped it. We were sitting on the street. we chop it up. I said, I really appreciate what you said about symbolic annihilation. He said, yeah, man. He said, what'll happen is it gives them a reason to exterminate you. If everybody's hetero, it gives them a reason to exterminate people.
Yeah.
If everybody's a man, it gives you. If everybody's able-bodied, it gives them a reason to literally write you out.
Yeah.
And so I'm a black nerd, and I'm not into being written out of the narrative. And I see people around now who are just kind of having the glimpse. They're like reading the cover of the comic book that I'm in.
Yeah.
And they're at least showing interest. And that's kind of where I will balance this moment.
Yeah. So for me, I think my like, because that's the thing is there was Black Panther when I was growing up, because I started getting into comics, I guess, when I was like 10 or so. But like I think it was until Milestone that I felt like super comfortable. It was like 93 or so when Milestone, and like there's a whole bunch of shit that happens there. Everybody look up the documentary. But like to me that changed the ideas of what it was like for like a whole superhero world to be mostly black people. Like that was never a thing that like got affected before, because it was always like a black superhero, or we'll go to the Ultimate Universe and there's a black Superman or a black, you know what I'm saying? Like, but there was no characters. It was just like, this dude is a new creation and he has his own world and most of the people in it are black. Like that was mind breaking for me.
Yep. So I don't know. I mean, that's kind of how I'm coping right now. I will tell y'all, I'll plug the comic. People are not reading it. There's a guy named David Walker. I fantasize that he's actually named after David Walker from David Walker's Appeal.
Yeah.
That's what I want to believe. Yeah. But I heard him speak, and he's got a comic, if people are familiar, called Bitter Root, and it starts out in Red Summer, and they talk. Well, there's an event it's happened. The comic book itself, the events take place in the 20s, in New York, in Harlem, but they're dealing with the effects of Red Summer. If people are not familiar, Red Summer, 1919, another case where white people around the country lost their minds and decided that they would enact violence upon whole communities of black people, or brown people anywhere, you know what I'm saying? And I think there's like, I don't remember how many cities in 1919, but I think it's 7, but I'm not sure. But anyway, they're talking about the serum that turns people either into zombies or not. And so they're it's another allegory of zombieism and hatred and racism. And but I dig the historic. I've only read the first trade because I'm cheap, and I've got to find that second trade somewhere. But yeah, it's so I've only read like the first 7 issues, but I like it. I like the art. I love the fact that it's an all black creative team on it, and to see these guys in real life talk about how, listen, I had to put my time in before I was like, listen, I'm not going to take any more of this BS from the big 2.
Oh yeah. Marvel and DC, for anybody who does not know the reference.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to cut it here because Mr. Royal, Jon Royal, you have to go. Jon Royal, would you like to say, what you officially do as a businessman and as a work person, and push anything before we head out of the mixer?
I don't want to necessarily push anything. I will say that it is really difficult. I'm a professional artist, primarily a theater artist. I'm a director. I act again every now and then, and I'm a facilitator. I also work with young people. I've been working with young people crazy this year for 30 years.
Pay us, please.
But
pay us, please.
I'll say that I don't have anything necessarily to push except for the fact that, just believe me when I'm saying this. If you're listening out there, you don't have an idea of it, being an artist, and I'm just speaking about artists in particular right now, being a professional artist right now, it's tough on everybody, but it's really like even if there is a vaccine tomorrow,
I could actually hear it. So
my industry, the quote unquote industry that I work in, is going to be affected for at least another 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be harder to make art.
Yeah.
And it was already hard, y'all.
Yeah.
It was already hard.
Yeah.
And it's going to be even harder. Every single thing I do requires people to gather in spaces with each other. And so it's been rocked. I'm making it, but at the same time, it's really difficult, and it's going to be even more difficult. So, just if you can Venmo an artist, if you seriously, if you can Cash App, Venmo, pay us. I mean, that's really, it is not tacky. I will absolutely take it. Please do it. I mean, if you know an artist, just trust me. I know they're having a tougher time than they had before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say that. I'll push that.
Thank you, sir. Everybody, Ash cut out here. She's
My computer died.
She's at least listening to me here and has the other headphone in. But thanks for everybody joining the mixer. Hey, audience, welcome again, Jon Royal, Josh Dent, Ash. Everybody's wonderful, and glasses up.
Thank you, everybody. I'm not drinking anything. I don't have any libations yet.